Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel. This is Tanush, and I'm back. So I may not be fully back. I can call this as partial comeback. So I will be making videos, but consultation may not be quite regular. So it might take a while, and I apologize. My viewers, those who approach me for consultation or some comments. So it might take a while, but I'll surely respond. Right now. Today I'll be speaking about the transit of Jupiter to the sign of Aries, which would be happening in the month of April 2023. So this transit is going to be a very tricky one, and we need to manage it. And if you don't manage this one, then it's going to be really a tough one, right? So this is not to scare you guys, but I will surely give you the principle of what to expect. So I'm not going to speak about any particular ascendant in this video. So I plan to make separate videos for individual ascendants. But if you are really serious about Vedic astrology and if you want to know what is in store for you from April 2023 to April 2024, then I strongly urge you to watch this video, because it gives you how Jupiter is going to behave for the next 1 year. So it's going to be very tricky, believe me, right? So let's start off. So I'll be speaking about three things. One is Jupiter in Aries. So what can we expect when Jupiter transits to Aries, right? Second is the conjunction of Jupiter and Rahu in the sign of Aries. So when these two planets conjunct with each other, what can we expect? What's going to happen? And third is the third aspect of Saturn from the sign of Aquarius to the sign of Aries. So Saturn would be aspecting Jupiter and Rahu with its third aspect, and surely Jupiter and Rahu would be feeling that pressure, because third aspect of Saturn is considered to be quite tough to deal with. I have made videos, but one thing I would like to add is, because Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius, it behaves little different. It's not so malefic, even though third aspect is difficult to deal. So the third aspect from Capricorn is different from the third aspect from Aquarius, right? So now coming to the first part, the sign of Aries. The sign of Aries, as we all know, is Aries is a very malefic sign, but it's a sign which represents soldier, where a person wants to achieve something, right? So there is a lot of energy. At the same time, there is a lot of immaturity, because it's the first house where a person has not achieved maturity yet, right? And it represents zeal to achieve things, doing whatever is needed to achieve things, right? And when Jupiter transits to the sign of Aries, Jupiter kind of adapts to the sign of Aries, and it tries to give its results based on the principles of Aries. So what's going to happen is Jupiter now becomes very aggressive when it comes in the sign of Aries. So for example, Jupiter represents teachers, gurus, spiritual teachers, many other things apart from that. But to give an example, during this period when Jupiter transits to the sign of Aries, we'll see that teachers, they become quite aggressive in dealing with their students. It's not only teachers, even Jupiter also represents father. It also represents spiritual gurus, counselors. So all these people will now behave quite aggressively towards their students, or towards people who actually come for counseling and for various other purposes, right? So Jupiter is going to be quite aggressive. That is only one part, but Rahu is sitting there, and Rahu has now adapted to that energy of Mars, and it also is quite aggressive and hell bent on achieving things, right? We all know that Rahu is a quite malefic planet. It's a planet which is not satisfied. It always needs more, right? It's not satisfied with anything, and it tries to find shortcuts to achieve things. Now what happens when Jupiter transits to the sign of Aries? it meets Rahu there. So we can discuss about when they'll be very close degree wise and how things would happen in detail probably in when I speak about individual signs. But when Jupiter conjuncts with Rahu, this is known as a Guru Chandal Yoga, not a very good yoga. But what happens actually, we'll say is Rahu is a very materialistic planet, and being in the sign of Aries, which is a fiery sign, which is a very aggressive sign. Now Rahu is trying to find shortcuts to achieve things, and it engages a person completely into achieving things based on what Aries represents in your particular chart. Now, when Jupiter comes here, the principle of Jupiter and Rahu is completely different, because Jupiter operates on set of principles. It represents, principles, codes, values, and Rahu is completely opposite. It doesn't believe in any principles. It doesn't believe in any values. It just believes in achieving things. So that's the motto of Rahu, right? So now when Jupiter and Rahu come, so when Rahu is in conjunction with any other planet, say even Sun and Moon, it completely conjuncts, it completely eclipses the planet, and even Sun loses its significance for a certain period of time till it's in close conjunction with Rahu, right? But when Rahu conjuncts with Jupiter, things are little different. So what happens is, because Jupiter is a very optimistic planet, it believes in values and principles. So what happens is Jupiter now tries to restrict the malefic nature of Rahu, right? So if suppose Rahu wants to achieve things by hook or crook, by following any shortcuts, immoral ways, Jupiter now comes here and Jupiter says, sorry, you cannot achieve things this way. So the malefic nature of Rahu is quite restricted by Jupiter here, but Jupiter would lose most of its energy in countering the malefic nature of Rahu. So that's the downside of it. So surely Jupiter restricts the malefic nature of Rahu, and if Rahu is very badly placed in your chart and the transit of Rahu in Aries is giving you problems, when Jupiter comes there, things are quite different. Jupiter, it successfully reduces the malefic effects of Rahu, but in doing so, it actually loses all its energy. It puts all its energy in restricting the malefic nature of Rahu, right? It restricts Rahu in doing bad things, to put it in a simple words. So that is the downside. To add to it, now Saturn is aspecting the sign of Aries, meaning this, Saturn is aspecting Rahu as well as Jupiter, right? So already Jupiter is losing its energy in dealing with Rahu. To add to that, Saturn aspects Jupiter with its third aspect, right? So now Jupiter is a planet of expansion, optimism, growth, whereas Saturn is a planet of restriction, creating boundaries. So when Saturn aspects Jupiter, Jupiter feels restricted. It feels, bound, right? So it cannot expand or give its results, so freely. So one is it's losing its energy in dealing with Rahu. Second is Saturn is restricting Jupiter in giving its positive results, right? So it's quite tricky one. Now the solution to deal with this is to increase the energy of Jupiter, and we have many Vedic remedies to do that. We have many means to do that. So based on your background and whatever you believe in, probably you can follow any remedy, but Vedic remedies surely work. So we need to increase the strength of Jupiter, because from April till end of October, till Rahu is in the sign of Aries, Jupiter is giving away its energy to Rahu to contain its malefic effects, right? So Jupiter is losing energy, and from end of October things change, because now Jupiter gains its strength, but still the boundaries of Saturn are still restricting the optimistic results of Jupiter. Otherwise, Jupiter in Aries is quite good because Aries is the first house, the house of Dharma, and sitting there, it aspects the fifth house and the ninth house. So when it is with Rahu, the aspects of Rahu, so wherever Rahu aspects, Jupiter also aspects, because Jupiter also has three aspects. One is where it sits, second is fifth, seventh, and ninth, right? Which also Rahu has. So wherever Rahu is aspecting and creating problems, Jupiter also aspects there and controls the malefic effects of Rahu, right? So it's a very tricky situation. Now the thing which we need to take care is to increase the strength of Jupiter for the whole of next year, starting from April 2023 till April 2024, and Jupiter will gain strength, and then it will do tremendous good for everyone, right? So guys, these were my thoughts on how Jupiter would be operating when it's in the sign of Aries. So I will be making individual videos on the result of the transit of Jupiter for different zodiac signs, soon. So, but this was a general principle, and if you don't understand this principle, then you will not be able to understand why Jupiter is behaving, or the results which you were expecting will not be as per your expectations, right? So guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I'll be back soon with other videos. Thank you so much.